Welcome back, everybody, to High Quality Trades, the channel where I provide top-notch technical analysis on the stock market, where we go over simple support and resistance levels, trendline breaks, and pattern formations. And I give you the price targets of where price is headed in the coming days. So let's get into it. In today's video, we'll be going over the most significant support and resistance levels on the SPY, the QQQs, and the VIX. And towards the end of this video, I will be going over Microsoft, Apple, NVDA, Google, Amazon, and XOM stock. First up, we have the SPY. Let's drop down into the 4-hour time frame. So today is October 12th, and the most recent close of the SPY was 579.58. It reached a high of 580.33 and a low of 575.91. It was positive 0.60% on the day. Alright guys, so what is the SPY currently doing? So on Friday, looks like we got a nice push off of our support level here at 575. We pushed all the way up to 580.33. Now, full measured move of our head and shoulders pattern completes up here at 582.65. That is where I'm looking for price to head up to before an attempt by the bears to try to push price lower. One thing I have been paying attention to as price continues pushing higher is we do kind of have a rising wedge looking pattern here. If price was to fall out of what looks to be a rising wedge, that would be bearish, and we could drop all the way down to 584.68. Just something to be aware of, because I'm also watching the daily time frame, and the MACD has curled over. So we did get a bearish cross here that may push price to the downside. Right now it's just a divergence because we have continued moving higher in the market while this has been signaling for some downwards momentum. So a little bit of a weird signal here, and we'll have to see if this may play out to the downside. What we would need to see is a bearish day in the market that takes out maybe the past couple days for maybe some follow through to the downside. But again, we'll just have to wait and see what the SPY decides to do. Alright, now let's go on to the QQQs. We'll start on the daily time frame because this is also something to be aware of, the bearish cross on the daily time frame on the MACD. So it is diverging from price at the current moment while the QQQs continues to have green days while this has curled over and signaling for some bearish momentum. Let's drop down into the 4-hour. Now, just like SPY, we have our head and shoulders pattern that broke out to the upside. So we are looking for, if we got a full measured move of this head and shoulders, for a price to reach up to 502.61. Now, we are finding resistance at 494.19, and we're looking for the QQQs to try to break above this level early next week. If we can't, and we head lower, we have support at 490. If the bears were able to push price below this level, then 485.50 would be the next support level. The QQQs does seem to have that same rising wedge pattern that could be a bearish formation that signals the QQQs falls. If we were to get a full measured move of this rising wedge, could put the QQQs falling to around 452.80. So that's something to be aware of as well. But right now it still looks like we're trying to get a full measured move of this head and shoulders before any bearish price action arises. Okay, that's it for the QQQs. Let's go over the VIX really quick. So the VIX has this descending triangle pattern that it's in the middle of trying to complete. We have been forming higher highs and higher lows ever since the breakout, and we're looking for a full measured move up here at 24.65. We're in the middle of a gap fill that may or may not complete, but we do have support at 19.39 if the VIX falls to this level. And then it may start to push higher. It would first need to break 21.98 to then try and reach up to that 24.65 level. So that's it for the VIX. Now let's go on to Microsoft. So last week, Microsoft broke its descending trend line here, and then we've been consolidating between support and resistance at 414 and 418. We need this 414 level to hold as support, then Microsoft push higher and try to break its resistance of 418. And then we have another descending trend line that we're looking for Microsoft to come up to and break, so we could then head up to 422.86. If Microsoft was to fall below this 414.52 level, that would be bearish, and we could head all the way down to 405.64. I'm leaning more bullish on this one, but I do believe the daily MACD, it's crossed through the zero line, so we have some consolidation at this point, but it may push price lower. I like the trend line breaks, that's why I'm bullish, but we'll have to see if Microsoft can start curling up on the MACD and then in turn push price higher. Okay, that's it for Microsoft. Let's go over Apple. Apple on the daily time is about to curl over on the MACD, which could signal more bearish price action to come. We do have this pennant pattern that Apple has formed, say, over the past couple months. If it was to break to the downside, that does put price falling down to 196.34. If we got, no, that wouldn't be a full measured move, but that would be a support level that it would fall to. Full measured move actually drops Apple down to 187, but these support levels here would need to be broken for it to continue to push down to that level. But if Apple was to break to the upside, there is a nice price target up here at 269.92 where Apple could head up to as well. So that might be something that will happen soon on Apple, that we get a break one way or the other. If it breaks above, it's a descending trend line that is bullish for price to head up to 232.96. But if it was to break below, then price would most likely head down to these lows here at 221.32. Okay, that's it for Apple. Let's head on to NVDA, moving along nicely. So NVIDIA was able to get above its resistance level last week at 131.68. That is bullish for price to head up to 137.73 come next week, but we have gotten quite the nice move to the upside over the past week or two that may be due for a pullback. So if price does break below this 131.68 level, it's most likely headed down towards 125. So we do have an ascending trend line that's formed over the past month or so that would be a nice point for NVIDIA to fall to and maybe find buyers and then push price higher. We do have this longer term descending trend line that this is a confirmed break to the upside. Now that is signaling for NVIDIA to break all-time highs at the 141 level and continue pushing price higher. It is kind of a pennant pattern as well. If we just move this line somewhere around here with a false breakdown, this could be a pennant pattern that signals for NVIDIA to get a full measured move of new all-time highs all the way around 173. It's a very bullish break if NVIDIA pushes past its resistance levels of 137 and 141. So the time frame on this, because this is quite a few months, I mean, it would take about that same few months to reach up to that level. So I'm not saying this will happen soon, but just speculating at this point. Okay, let's head on to Google. So Google kind of has an inverse head and shoulders forming. So this pattern, if we are to break to the upside, would signal that Google could reach new all-time highs. If we were to break to the upside, I mean, it does put price up to around the 191 level. But this pattern also could break to the downside. So if we were to break this downwards, I mean, 142.42 would be the measured move of this inverse head and shoulders. So we need to pay attention on this one, and we could have a very bullish move to the upside soon, or a bearish one to the downside. So if we were to just go over the support and resistance levels real quick, Google needs to stay above 161.25 and then get above 165.88. And then we could push to the neckline of this inverse head and shoulders around 170. And then that bullish break would put us at all-time highs. But if Google can't get above 165.88 and it falls lower and we break this ascending trend line, then it will have support here at 161. And then the next support level, if that was to break, is 157.37. Okay, and that's it for Google. Let's look at Amazon real quick. So Amazon had this bullish break of this descending broadening wedge. And a full measured move of this pattern signals that Amazon was going to reach up to 201.32 based on the full measured move. We've gotten about half the pattern so far, and then we found resistance here at 191. We have fallen down to support at 181, and looks like we're going to try to test this level as resistance again. But if Amazon is able to break this level, then we should head up towards 201. Say if Amazon finds resistance at 191 though, and we fall lower, then it would head down towards 181, and if that broke, the next level would be 174.78. Alright, that's it for Amazon. Last one, let's go over XOM. So XOM has been trying to break this 119.98 level for quite some time. I've been talking about it since this break here back in July, and we were expecting this to happen a lot sooner, but it looks like it took a long time to find buyers. Last week we finally broke out of this 119 level, and we pushed up to 126.50. Actually did trade this one on the break of this 119 all the way up to around 126, and then sold because it looked like we had a touch point here and a touch point here that created this ascending trend line that I figured XOM would find resistance at. So actually after it touched here, I sold in this candle here, and that was my trade. It was a pretty nice trade. So we have dropped below what could have been support at 123.72, and we headed back down to test support at 119. So we have pushed off that level, and now we're trying to break the 123 level again. That would be bullish if XOM is able to break this level. Then it's possible we come try to test this ascending trend line again. And if we were to break it, going out onto the weekly time frame, I believe we have a megaphone pattern. That if we were to break out of this megaphone, does signal for XOM to reach upwards of 150 in a few weeks, months probably. This pattern took about a year to form, so it actually could take about that to reach that level. So just something to be aware of. It could just find resistance at this level, and then we fall lower. If that was to happen, if we find resistance here, then 123 is the first support level, and that 119, of course, which would be quite a strong support level because we have so much trading in that area. But we could fall as low as 115 in the coming days to weeks, and then we'll see how price reacts after that. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. I appreciate you watching. I'll be giving updates on these stocks in the coming days to weeks. So, thanks for watching. High quality trades. I'll see you guys in the next video.